Jackie Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
Gallbladder problems, gingivitis, a bad back, indigestion, fatigue, low libido, not sleeping well, need to lose
time to make important decisions about your Medicare prescription drug coverage. Shine counselors provide free, unbiased help in selecting a Medicare Part D or Advantage plan. If you have questions, Shine can guide you through the enrollment period ending December 15th. For more information or to volunteer, call 1-800-963-5337 or go to floridashine.org.
Have you tried investing in the stock market and haven't done very well? Come into Online Trading Academy. Have your investments lost money and you're frustrated because the only thing your broker says is write it out? Hop in the car and get to Online Trading Academy. Pro investors show you how money is made in up, down, and sideways markets. You'll see the best way to pick stocks, options, futures, and Forex using a patented rules-based strategy taught only at Online Trading Academy. How to find the right investments, how to time the market, how to protect money from risk. For over 20 years, thousands have learned how to invest from home at Online Trading Academy. Come in and see what this school's all about at a free half-day class. They're all over Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Stewart, and Port St. Lucie. Seating is limited, so call Online Trading Academy now to win a pair of tickets. 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510.
This is Talk 1470.
Talk 1470.
WNN.
The following program does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff, management, ownership of the station. Jay and Janine are expressing their own opinions, and such is not a substitute for psychological or mental health advice. If you are experiencing an emergency, please hang up and call 911.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show, where we're talking everything personal development, coaching, health, and the law. I'm your host, Jay, here with co-host Janine.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Please join us on Facebook, where we can be found at the Momentum Mindset Show. And if you want to call in and be part of the show, we would love to hear from you. It's 888-565-1470. And if being on live radio is not your thing, no problem. Send us your comments and we will interact with you on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum.
And welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show. Here we are, Friday afternoon, 5 p.m.
March 8th. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you.
I'm your host, Jay Farrow.
And I'm Janine Davis.
Okay. So, 5 o'clock on Friday. We're going to take a second to just shake it off.
Shake it off.
Okay, because I know.
We need to shake it off.
So everybody, because if you're driving around, don't do this, of course, but just a little shake.
Oh, wait, drivers can shimmy.
Drivers can shimmy and just like really just shake it out, because it's been a long week. March the 8th. Now you think about it, it's we're in March and we're coming up.
Absolutely
crazy. That
closing in on the first quarter of the year.
Lent just started.
Yes.
Passover's in a couple of weeks.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
And then it's all of a sudden it's Easter, and then it's like
then it's summer, and then it's then it's the fall. I mean, it just goes so incredibly quickly.
And the time's been flying, okay?
Yeah.
And I know that because I count days.
Yes.
And
you are a day counter.
Well, some people are like, why do you count days? What is that whole thing about the total life transformation,
How did that even start? What made you think to count the days?
So actually, it was because I started a body transformation, and I was going after the six-pack abs, and I started on March the 11th. So I'm going to tell you that I started counting the days of how many days that I was eating 6 meals a day and going to the gym, because it was kind of a cool thing to do, because the program that I was on was supposedly going to give me the six-pack abs as long as I followed it within like 90 to 120 days, and I was going to go towards my birthday. So it was kind of a way to just to keep count, and it was kind of a cool thing to do, and it was just like, I felt like, each day was a little win. Each meal was a little win. Each meal, because each meal was designed specifically. So for those that don't know, when I started this program on March 11th last year of the health, my entire diet was designed. The 6 meals that I ate every single day was exactly the same meals that I would eat every single day.
Yeah.
For, you know, it.
I know, as many people know, we work together, and I see you practically every single day. And so I am very well aware that you've been eating the same meal for like a year.
This is dedication. This was momentum. This was I didn't know it then. It's not like I had I didn't have a recipe book for this. I didn't have a script that says, okay, this is what momentum looks like. This is what transformation looks like. You know, I just knew that I wanted to transform my body. I knew that I wanted to become a more connected individual. I know that I wanted to become, really just started with the body. And then as I think I got into the days like 60 or something like that, where I just said, well, you know, I want to start thinking about my business as well.
Your business, and then your way of being,
my way of being,
your
my
everything.
mindset, my ideas about men and women, about myself in relationship, about I call it a total life transformation. That's what it ended up being.
Right.
You know, sometime.
Well, and I'd like to say to the listeners too, which by the way, it's so incredible for anyone who is listening. We're so incredibly thrilled, and thank you. But you never, even going into the body transformation, not you nor I. That wasn't part of our. Not your world or mine. I had no idea what was involved in what that would take for you to achieve the six-pack abs. Like, what kind of body mass you'd have to be at, like, for them to even show. Because everybody has six-pack abs kind of underneath, you know, what goes into that. So it's been a huge education on a myriad of topics.
But I don't want people to get lost and think that this is just a body transformation, and that I'm advocating just, okay, well, just be, you know, look away or sculpt your body.
Right, but
it's not, it wasn't, well, it didn't end up being that way, but it started that way.
Right, but I mentioned that too, because it was an extension of a metaphor for you go after something and you have no idea what you're in for necessarily once you start. We just actually came off of listening to a book that we're really into, and we'll discuss at the end of the segment of the show. But one of the things that he says is that when you're going after a big, lofty ideal, it's usually on your really comfy couch. And in the safety of a lot of comfort.
Right.
And then you get into it, and it's like,
I was actually, you know, I was coming through this. I had actually set up the body transformation to start on January the 1st or January the 2nd. I
remember.
Of last year.
Yeah, the first week of January.
And then, as you know, I get my blood results to get going on this program, and I'm good to go. And I'm ecstatic. And an hour later, after I get in these results, I'm in the hospital and facing emergency surgery for a life-threatening condition.
Right.
And then, so today is day 363. I found out. I thought today could have been 365. I was like, wait a second. How many days are there in a year?
365.
365. Okay. Well, today, like I count, today would be 365, but that's not possible if March 11th. So I had to do the math. I skipped a couple of days. I didn't skip them. But it's just, I think I counted some twice.
Oh, okay. Okay. That very well could be. Okay. So, all right.
What the book that you're referring to, one of the concepts is this thing about becoming your own hero.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what all of this would do. And after being in doing this for a year, and so Sunday is the last day of the technical year that I declared that I was going to do a full year of transformation.
Yeah.
And of life transformation. That included, started to read books on consciousness, on mindset, on trust, on relationship during this period of time. And then I started to journal. Not really so much in my first 30 days. Actually, no, I take that back. I started to, maybe after my first 30 days, I started to journal. Things just started to snowball as I decided to go after something else. I was like, well, if I've come this far, let me see if I could just add this into it.
Right.
Let me see if I could add the business transformation into it. Let me see if I could add this into whatever I was up to.
Right, right.
And then here I am on day 365. I was looking at myself in the mirror this morning, and I'm really happy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, I'm talking about my body, and I was like, you know what, I'm not as defined as I was when I had like the six pack abs, but I like the size that I have. I don't know about the beard yet. I don't know about the beard.
Maybe our listeners and our viewers can see, give a poll. I think the beard is sensational, but I'm one of those women who likes facial hair. Some people don't. But whatever. The point is, what do you think? I guess you're still in discovery of how you feel about it.
I don't know. I'm going to be in discovery for it.
Okay, cool.
But this year has seen, like, I wrote about this the other night about what I've seen in this last year and the incredible amount of uncomfortable situations I put myself in. I mean, my average getting up time was 4 a.m. or 4:15. That's average. For many, many months, it was at 3:45 in the morning, and I would go until about 11:45 at night, and I'd post every single day on Facebook. Yeah. I would write down my feelings in real time because I thought that it would be important for myself to document how I was feeling, what I was going through as I was growing.
Right.
As I was growing up, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's I did a lot of growing up. The amount of pain, that I went through, looking into places that I never wanted to look.
Right. Because I think most of us spend our whole life not really wanting to look there. It takes a lot of guts and bravery, to even acknowledge that there's anywhere to look, right? Because a lot of us think, well, this is just the way it is. So that's a fixed mindset, right? But when you go into a growth mindset, which says that, everything is possible, anything is possible if you choose it, right?
Right.
Then you get to start looking at places that you didn't even know to look before.
So what I was thinking about, someone sent me something this morning of one of my posts from day 178, Ronnie, and I want to thank you for that. Because one of the things that what I wrote about on that day was I said, what are the defining moments of my life? And I used to think that the defining moments of my life was like the first time when I passed the bar, when I went into court for the first time, when I won a trophy, when I walked across a stage for graduation. Whatever graduation it was, when I won a football game or a soccer game, and what are those defining moments? I said, I don't think so. I said, what the defining moments are in my life as I look back to this year of transformation, and this is day 178. I said, it's those moments where I choose to stay in the game as opposed to quit. When I choose to go to the gym at 3 o'clock in the morning, whereas instead of just going back to sleep.
Right.
When I chose to go back to the office to do something exceptional for a client. When I chose to, when I'm at the store and I have the decision to make between something with a bunch of stuff that's not good for you or stuff that's really good. In that moment, I'm not just choosing, but I end up redefining. Myself.
Sure.
Each one of these decisions, as we talk about transformation and momentum, every single one is a little win.
Absolutely.
And then chalking up little wins time and time and time again, starting with the morning, making your bed, to choose to I did some silly things. I did some really silly things.
Why don't you tell us about your silly thing? What silly things are you referring to?
I was going to become left-handed.
Oh, that was funny.
Okay.
I was like, I heard of, and I didn't want to tell you, but I'm like, this is a thing for sure, but I've heard of a few people who actually went insane, and that's the first thing that they did on their journey to insane.
But I chose that to remind myself to become comfortable being uncomfortable. I wanted my default this year to be uncomfortability, no matter what it was like. Even to this day, I'm wearing my 2 different pairs of socks just to remind myself when I look down that I'm doing something that is otherwise uncomfortable.
Right.
I leveled up, even in the toothpaste that I bought, the cards that I bought for anything, birthdays, holidays.
You so leveled up. Right. That's amazing. Like now, I would say Jay, you pick the card.
Every decision that I make, I say, how can I make this better?
Yeah.
A better choice to be kind to me, a better choice a healthy choice. And in each one of these decisions, this is where these moments, these moments. So this morning, because this person, Ronnie, thank you for reminding me of day 178, I did not want to get up this morning. We have had 2 weeks of hell.
Right, like hell weeks, actually. Hell weeks.
Hell weeks. To 20 hours a day, 21 hours a day, and it's just on top of that, the things don't seem to be like, the universe is always working for you. It doesn't always feel like it's working for you. Just saying.
We trust that it is. It just doesn't look like it is.
Just saying.
Yeah, just saying is right. Right.
Wow, these last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into that a little bit, but I wanted to just I wanted to get through this first segment saying that it is a year. It is a year. I don't recognize. I went out to dinner with Janine and a really good friend of mine, Dr. Robert Mills,
who we absolutely adore.
Absolutely love
Such
and adore.
An incredible man.
And I was walking into the restaurant, and he saw me. But he's like, no. That's not Jay. And then we got to talking about it.
And he's known you for years now.
Many years.
Many years, like 10 years.
But it was the way that I walked into the restaurant, the way that I was talking, and that I feel it. I feel the transformation. And then on the other side of the break, because we're going to take one right now, I want to just talk about where I feel that I'm at.
Yeah.
So we'll be back here in just a minute.
Yes. And thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Farrow Law Firm. Are you in default with your loan modification? Has your rate adjusted? We can help. Reach out to us today and we'll put our 10 years of foreclosure defense experience to work for you. Call us at 954-252-9818. Online at farrowlawfirm.com and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show.
Welcome back, everybody.
And today really is a celebration for me, as far as it's a year.
Yeah.
It's a year where I decided to take on my life like nobody's business. I decided that I was going to transform my body and then ultimately my business, the way that I felt about relationship, how I connect with people, how I connect with myself, what I found. And, you did something very, very, very beautiful for me over the holidays. You printed out all my Facebook posts.
Yeah.
And put them into a binder up to that point in time. And I went through it today. I was going through some of my early posts before I started with my diatribes. The ones on Facebook that are that long.
Yeah, when you're reading on your phone, you're like.
And I started to see the progression of how I really looked at the world and how my worldview has shifted over the last year.
Incredible.
And what I also recognize is how much work that I have left to do as far as the way that I see things. Because as we were right before the break, I said, the last couple of weeks have been hell. The last couple of weeks, because things have not shown up the way that I wanted them to show up.
Right.
And part of that is that there's a gap. There's a gap between the way things that I see that I want them to be.
Sure.
And then the way things that they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm a lawyer, and in my practice, I have a process.
Yeah.
Where a client comes in to hire me, I take a look at their legal matter. I said, okay, my philosophy is this. I'm going to take a look at everything you have going on, and I will design a legal strategy which is going to involve telling the other side how we see it.
Right.
and laying out like a demand letter, and usually I'd have a complaint, and I have that served up on the other people.
Right.
But I always give the other side the opportunity to take a look at the picture.
Yep.
And say, okay, let's try to work this out beforehand.
Right, because you also have a philosophy that entails bringing the best out in people. In other words, like,
yes.
What can we do before this gets into the hands of a black robe? What can we do as human beings to make this as win-win as possible? Because your guy, right, is now a defendant, technically.
On the other side.
On the other side. And so how can we mitigate the losses and the pain?
I mean,
and that's,
there's some philosophy out there to just go ahead, file a lawsuit, and then just see what happens. I'd rather just to be in service to my client, number one, but then also to the other side.
Right.
Because I know that there's consequences outside of the lawsuit that are going to happen because you filed the lawsuit.
Absolutely.
It's not just the money that you spend on us lawyers. It's the other external stuff. The people,
it's the public spectacle that it becomes.
It's the public spectacle, but taking it home with you, okay, it's the stress. It's the stress of your family.
Right.
And what recently has been coming into my space is that it's on the other side. It happens to be like a whole family that's part of the whole nonsense that's happening on the other side.
Actually, we're finding that to be the case in a lot of our cases. In fact, that the family is involved. Right. The entire family is involved.
And when I see that, and I take some heat from my client, saying, hey, what are you doing? I want to go full stick. I said, it's not going to really serve you or them. What I'm finding, though, my disappointment in the situation is the gap. It's saying, okay, well, I think that I'm evolved, and this goes for my life of transformation. It's like, okay, well, I've evolved. So I have this worldview, which I feel is win-win.
Sure.
It's based upon being in service to everyone on some level.
Even the defendant.
Okay, even the defendant. So I've taken this philosophy, the mindset of I would call it a transformational mindset, but I'll call it a mindset of service, of win-win.
Sure.
And you would think, and I sent it out. I'm like, okay, well, now the world's going to be, this hunky-dory place, but I'm shocked, and for the last couple of weeks, I have been absolutely shocked that seeing it from an objective angle and looking at it from the other side, it's like, okay, well, am I missing something, such that the other side is missing something, and then it's like, you know what? Why am I so angry?
Why are you so angry? That's a really great question to notice what comes up for you.
Okay, because when I get angry,
what comes up even for myself,
anger, frustration, okay, being indignant, and underneath that is righteousness.
Yeah. Ooh, good old righteousness.
Good old-fashioned righteousness.
Oh, but we discussed that you love to be right. So
we were talking about last week about me wanting to be right. I'm just going to talk about righteousness for a little bit because I'm like, wait a second. I just spent all this time and effort to take a step back and formulate in such a way to be as painless as possible.
And they're not seeing it. How could they possibly not see it?
And I think to myself, wait a second. Maybe there's a certain amount of pain that comes to that has to happen, because for my transformation, and I say this, it wasn't until the pain of being who I was became so intolerable to me. I could not have tomorrow look like yesterday. That's my saying.
Right. Well, I have to tell you something too. As you know, and people listening may not know, I left a very cushy, comfortable job that I had 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years ago now in a couple of weeks, with people who I adored and adore today, still to this day, to go out on my own for this life coaching, for us to do a business together, whatever. That was like, it's like being in the frigid water like this for the last 2 years. It's painful as hell. But why did I decide to do that? Because I knew that my potential and the growth that I was being called for was never going to be accomplished in the safety of where I was. So it became intolerable to me, not because I didn't absolutely adore the people who I was working with, but because it wasn't a challenge anymore and it was no longer growing me. And under that, I was dying. So, you know, it's not unlike what you're talking about.
Looking at the situation from the objective spot. Well, I can't be objective.
Well, as possible.
As possible. I'm like, wait a second. Am I missing something? Because let's say that this person, like, you know, runs, I don't know, a $500 million company. And it's like you have everything to lose, but then why wouldn't you just, you know, what's the deal? What comes up for you that you wouldn't want to try to work something through first? Now, underneath that, it's like, okay, Jay, what's going on with you? Because
their righteousness
is tagging my righteousness because I have the right to be righteous.
but they don't.
How dare they be righteous?
Yeah.
And I get to see that's the thing.
And it's a battle of wills at the end.
It's a battle, and nobody's winning a battle of wills. It's a matter of degree of losing.
Correct.
So I'm looking at this tonight from my practicing. Okay, now I see. Okay, what's there, Jay? What's going on there? Because if there's something there, then there's something for me to take a look at.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It feels good to be right.
It always feels good to be right.
But it's gotten me nowhere.
Right.
In a lot of instances.
Right. And we're now observing, being on the other side of it, how it could potentially get these people nowhere.
Well, I'm saying
and it is the path to their absolute certain destruction.
So I'm like,
this is like what we think, like, what?
So I can only imagine what other people saw in me as I was going down that road to certain destruction. Yeah. Doing the same thing over and over again, that was going to be like, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now I'm looking at it from a different angle. I'm like, wait, you keep making these decisions and you're going... So
yeah,
it wasn't that long ago that I continued to do those very, very same things.
Absolutely.
And the only thing benefit right now is I have a little bit more perspective because of this, life transformation. But I have not escaped being human. I've gotten a lot of questions about, well, what did you think was going to happen on day 365? And I said, well, I didn't ever think I was going to catch a cure for life. I didn't think that...
You say that, and I think that's very wise, actually.
I didn't think that all of a sudden I get to a year and there's some kind of a magical thing that happens where I don't get tagged anymore. I'm always
you're
conscious.
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
I don't see that happening.
No.
But that's good. Everybody needs some saltiness and some edge.
I have learned a lot, though.
For sure.
And my perspective now also creates a judgment of others.
So maybe that's like the next level, right? Because I know I had it for myself. Like, Jay's not the only one. We're in the office, and I'm like, what the beep? Who do these people think they are? This is malpractice. This is it. I get all incensed. I get all on my high horse, too. It's not just you. It's me. I'm judging them all day long. I'm calling them names that are not so attractive. And it's, so the next level, that tells me that the next level for me is, let go of that judgment, girl. Like, who do you think you are? You know what I mean? And again, it's an evolution. It's always growing. It's constantly growing, constantly.
And taking a look at when I'm doing this, when I'm angry, frustrated, full of judgment, full of righteousness, it's because I'm looking out there for the answers that should be coming from in here.
Absolutely. And that takes presence, connectedness, and an incredible amount of practice. So I think that for both of us, we're in the infancy of that still.
I wrote about this last night, about the people that didn't come with me on this journey. When I say didn't come with me, it's like I have friends and family and that, I don't necessarily speak to anymore. Not because I'm angry, but it's because, they didn't want to go to this one seminar. I've found that it's like I feel like there's this gap now, this distance about okay, well, I want to know that you've done some work, or what are you doing for yourself? And I'm just like, what am I doing for me? You know, what am I? You know, just because I have this year now and a really, really long, cool journal, which
watch out for the bestseller, ladies and gentlemen.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
That's why I made you that book, because I wanted you to have a feeling of what that book would look like. I wanted you to like feel it and touch it and get that idea in your mind already so that it could happen.
I think back to a lot of those mornings and getting up and moving, and then the journaling, and then a lot of people were like, you know, what are you doing? And I got a lot of different comments. And what I think there's so many beautiful moments that I've on this journey, but the most beautiful ones like did happen in the mornings when it was quiet and you had that win and it was like a fresh day and you knew you had it like full of possibilities.
Yeah.
That you could do anything. And I owned the day, you know, at 3:45 in the morning, and I get to appreciate things like oatmeal, and to have that perspective of possibility. I was talking to you and some other people about, I've represented 2 people in my life.
Yeah, this is a cool concept that you came up with.
I've represented 2 clients my entire life. And those 2 clients have been comfort and safety.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I've represented comfort and safety, and I've defended it, and I've prosecuted claims for them. Because Mr. Comfort and Mr. Safety were where I wanted to run. And taking the path of least resistance is still something that I will defend and prosecute.
Sure.
But I want to take on a new client in this next year. And that new client is Mr. Possibility.
Love it. Nice.
That's what I start talking about.
Nice. So that's the curiosity of what's possible, what's next, and that is so invigorating.
I want to talk about possibility on the other side of this break.
Yeah, definitely. And something that's really come into our space that's been a huge influence for both Jay and I.
We're speaking about a book that
talk to.
You need to hear this next piece.
Yeah. Stay with us.
Stay with us.
Farrow Law Firm. Are you in default with your loan modification? Has your rate adjusted? We can help. Reach out to us today and we'll put our 10 years of foreclosure defense experience to work for you. Call us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back.
It's always so funny to see yourself on video after the commercial.
I know. I love it. I don't know exactly when we start. We've been doing this for almost 3 months now, if you can believe that.
I know. It's amazing.
You know?
Thank you again, Freddie and Don, for the opportunity. It's amazing.
And if we invite anybody that wants to call in right now, 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. Talking about, this is now coming up on the weekend of my year, my declared year of transformation.
Yeah.
Of my body, my business, my life, my thoughts about loving myself, relationship with myself, developing that relationship with myself.
2 years ago was a concept that you would have laughed out of the building.
Right, when I did laugh.
Right. You know what? Very good point also. Very good point also.
Yeah, it's just to think that, sitting here smiling and it's like I'm on the radio.
Yeah.
You know,
cool.
how do you like me now? Like, what is that? There's that song that said, you know, living in your radio.
Living in your radio. How do you like me now?
I
Mr.
saw this
Toby
thing
Keith. So cool.
It was like a Lady Gaga quote saying that, you know, when my ex-boyfriend told me that I was never going to be anything or amount to X, Y, and Z, I told him that well, there's going to be a day that you won't be able to go to a coffee shop without even hearing me on the radio or someone talking about me. And it's like, oh.
Isn't that just a beautiful revenge wish list? But we were talking before our break about a book that has influenced us quite a bit, something that's come into our space.
And say the word influence, and I don't even think that does this justice.
Well, then correct me, please.
No, we're talking about a book called Can't Hurt Me.
By David Goggins.
David Goggins, who's a former Navy SEAL, an ultra race runner.
Right. Army Ranger.
This guy's story is just unbelievable. Now, I don't connect with some of the things that went on in his early childhood.
Right.
But I certainly connect with how he decided to go after life and his concept of callousing your mind.
Right.
Callousing your mind through
we have actually discussed that before, but yeah.
Embracing pain, embracing the
discomfort.
And when he's talking about discomfort, he's talking about he's running. He finished Hell Week, his third Hell Week in a calendar year, with broken shins, 2 broken shins, and he did that because he had gotten remarried to his first wife, and then she had a baby on the way. But he's like, I can't fail.
Right.
But in his, it's not just I can't fail and I'm doing this for somebody else. What he's talking about when he's exercising and he's going through these what they call evolutions, is that there's something that comes up in his mind, like to have him keep going. And he says this: you got to know your why. You got to know how to answer the question why.
Right.
And I know what that feels like because and not to his level. I'm not trying to say that I connect with what running on broken legs yet. But I'm saying,
good God.
What I'm saying
Stay tuned, y'all.
That I know what it's been like for me to break through my own personal barriers. No one said there was a blueprint for waking up at 3:45 in the morning. I just know when that happens and my alarm goes off, I don't wait and I get up. And then when I'm sitting in certain areas, when I'm sitting eating my oatmeal, there's these conversations going on here and here saying no, stop, go back to sleep, don't call it off.
Right.
And I know what it's like to lose that battle. And I know what it's like to win that battle. I know what it's like when I didn't think that I could run more than 1.2 miles. Right. And then all of a sudden in January I started running 3, 4, and 5 miles. And I know when you're running, there's nowhere to go. There's no one there to help you. There's nothing else that's going to keep you moving forward.
Right.
Except for you knowing why. Why are you doing that? And I think that connecting to that, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of you online. I've spoken to just people that ask me questions that are in my world. It's like why am I doing it?
Right.
Because I want to know what I'm capable of.
Exactly.
I need to know if I'm capable of climbing Mount Everest. I need to know if I'm capable of running 7 miles. That need to know of who am I going to be in mile 6.5 when everything about me wants to quit, and then except for I don't press the stop button.
Right.
That only comes from that callous your mind. So when this man's book, when I said that it was an understatement, I was able to run that 1.2 miles except maybe in a couple times when I was maybe 24, 25 years old. I went a little bit further than that. I read this man's book, or halfway through it, and then I was like, I'm jumping on the treadmill, because he has this concept of like, hey, you don't know what the human body is capable of.
Right. And it is, and he talks about it too. It's not just the physical aspect of it, because at the end of the day, your mind, you have to work your mind to the point where your mind is willing the broken foot to keep on going, to keep on moving. And it's such an incredible portrayal or depiction of what we're capable of and how obedient our brain and body is when we actually command it in a way that we feel.
It's mastering your mind.
You're mastering your mind, but you're feeling everything in it. He's always saying, like, there's so much more left in the tank. You don't even know that you're living your life at 40%. So that this book has actually absolutely floored us and completely opened up our minds to, like, oh my God, there's so much more.
Because as I was
the tip of the iceberg.
So I was patting myself on the back at waking up at 3:45 and going to 11:45. Truth be told, I was wasting 7 to 8 hours of my day pretending to be busy or pretending to do work where I could be feeling it, and I know that in my heart. And there's nothing like knowing it in your heart and then telling people, "Well, I get up at 3:45 in the morning." So what? You know what? It was like tying my shoes. The work that I did like this year, I say, yeah, I went through pain. I went through uncomfortable situations.
Oh, yeah.
I dug deep. I went through experiences that it's just like, wow. It's like I had to look at myself and recognize I was a man that was disconnected, that was not very successful in relationship, that was overweight, that was not disciplined at all. But I'm still, like, all the things that I did this year, I consider just be like tying my shoes. And I'm not, people are like, oh, you don't need to take that in or acknowledge yourself for the things that you've accomplished. Yeah, I did, but I have so much left in the tank.
Yeah.
We all do.
We all do.
We all
do. This is what is so beautiful about this book, right, Jay? Because he's like, I'm not your hero. You're your own hero. Be your own hero. And I was sharing with Jay, and I've shared with other people. So I could never be in the military. I hate people telling me what to do. I would be in the hole within seconds. I'd be like, hey, don't talk to me like that. Or, whatever. I'm like, I don't look rebellious, but I really am inside. So my admiration for the military and anybody who is of service is paramount and absolute. And I didn't think that I could connect to this book or connect to him or whatever, because our lives are so different. And he talks a lot about running. And frankly, I want to know that I can run for my life, but that's really the extent to, like, my running dreams, right? But the point of the matter is that what really got me about the book, and everything is going to, people will resonate with the part that they need to resonate with,
right,
was this idea of be your own hero. I always thought that someone else would be my hero. I never imagined that I could be my own hero. And that concept is what fueled me, is what bred the passion. I was telling Jay, please, let's talk about the book on the show, because this is the #1 recommended book that I've recommended to people ever. I got it for Jay for Christmas, then I got it for him on Audible, then I got it for my brother. I got it for at least 4 or 5 other people. Just this, like, within a 3-week span.
Be your own hero. So this morning, when I was done. After the last couple of weeks, I was done. And I got my clothes on, I put my shoes on, and then I got this message about someone had went back and read Day 178.
Right.
And it was all about the defining moments of my life aren't when I cross a graduation stage, or the first time I performed on the piano, or won a trophy.
Sure.
It was moments like this when I took us out of the house and I went and I did the gym to make myself, feel better. It was when I chose Jay as opposed to those conversations in my mind that say stop and quit.
Right.
And when I said I inspired myself on Day 178, I read that today and I said, you know what? I became my own hero this morning.
Yeah.
I became my own hero this morning, and it was during this journey, and it's because I thought it important to write this stuff on Facebook, because I read this stuff 9 and 10 times. I reread it from where I was the day before, and it hits me. It's like, wow, sometimes I'm just astonished about the depths of where I was.
Yeah, right.
But I connect with that there's so much more.
Yeah, there's so much more. When we were at dinner with this friend of ours friend and client of ours on Wednesday, part of the thing for me too, and what has reinvigorated me this week, right? Because we're always searching for the thing that's going to, give us that energy and reignite that passion, right? Because you're in a routine, so sometimes it can get a little, dull or you take it for granted. So you are always called to re-inspire yourself and always reinvigorate.
So we were talking about the whole thing, and I thought, we were all created to be Ferraris, and I've been driving around like I'm a little minivan. I'm talking about physically, right? So there's so much more that I could do physically in terms of physical feats. It's not just about beauty or fitting into this or that or the other. It's not about that. It's about my late mother, a few years before she passed away, she did the Camino de Santiago, or the St. James Walk. And it's a 500-mile walk in northern Spain. And it it's a pilgrimage that tracks the steps, apparently, of St. James. And then you end up at the town where he was buried. And it's a holy site, and it's amazing. It has a renaissance, and it's attracted millions of people at this point in modern day times. So it's a really beautiful thing. But listen, 500 miles is no joke as a walk or whatever. My dad and her, when they did it, they ran out of time. So one of my dreams is to walk it for her, walk the entire thing for her, and finish it. That's my connection with her.
See, now getting to that, like, why? No. Getting to a why. Because you're saying walk it for her, and we were listening to this book on the way over, because he was running a 100-mile marathon,
right?
Because for some fallen soldiers,
right.
And then you get to mile 50, and your toenails are literally falling off, and he said you got to find something else,
right?
And it's that, and
it's no longer for the charitable thing.
And this is where because we talked about in the beginning of this year on this show about what do you want, because the universe is going to give you what you want no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to get into this issue of why after we come back on this last break, because I like where this is going.
Yeah.
But why is the question that you have to be able to answer for yourself,
right?
When you are going through that excruciating feeling.
Yeah.
And
I was
finding that more in the tank.
Yeah, when I was figuring out how to train for this, the woman said to me, "Start doing stairs, start doing this, and I thought, "Oh God, I don't want to do any of those things." And then I was like, "Wait a minute.
Well,
I'm curious. Yes, I do. Yes, I will."
Okay, so on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about why.
Yeah.
Farrow Law Firm. Are you in default with your loan modification? Has your rate adjusted? We can help. Reach out to us today, and we'll put our 10 years of foreclosure defense experience to work for you. Call us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
Okay, welcome back. Friday, March 8th. And we were talking right before the break about this concept of why. And it's deeper than people say, well, why do you want to do that? It's like, well, I want to.
So I was saying that I want to finish the walk for my mom.
Right, you want to finish the walk for
your mom.
And
you're suggesting to me you've got to dig even deeper. And by the way, it's interesting that you say that, because this walk is known to really beat the heck out of the people. What do I mean by that? It's painful, it's long, it's arduous. Most people are not accustomed to walking a half a mile a day, and you're going to be walking anywhere from 15 to 20 miles a day. So compared to an ultra run, that's child's play. But for the average person, and I consider myself an average person, although lately my activity is above the average person, you get to train, your feet blister, all kinds of things happen to your back. You don't feel great. It's not, the aches and pains of the Camino are a known thing, right? So that's what I loved about it too, that physical challenge. And that's also too why, it's part of the pilgrimage. It's part of that transforming that suffering and that discomfort into something truly meaningful for you. I think that for me, I will find my deeper why while I'm doing it. Just like this cat, Mr. David Goggins, found his deeper why in the depths of his soul while his body was literally breaking down as he was at mile 70.
My experience, you are going to know who you are when you get to your mile 50. When I got to my mile number 5, you find out where those conversations are, and why you keep going. For me, I couldn't stand the thought of not finishing, 50 minutes on the treadmill.
Right.
I couldn't stand the thought as I went through these workouts that I did over the last year. I couldn't stand the thought of not doing one single rep. There was times where I was completely on my diet. I couldn't stand the thought of being one ounce over on my vegetables when I was preparing my meals.
Right.
There was something about me that said, no, that's not where we're going with this.
Right, because I think that what happens is in those moments when you are so incredibly present and committed to what you're doing, you realize it's every single time I said, okay, just one more, or maybe one less, nobody will know, whatever. You're actually really cheating yourself, right? And when you have love and respect for yourself, there is no cheating yourself. You don't get to cheat yourself.
No, it was a matter of personal pride.
Right, and discipline.
It was a matter. It's more than discipline, I want to say. It was more than discipline because I would say that it was a matter of knowing who I am.
Yeah.
Am I
holding
the person?
Yourself to that
am I the
standard.
person? If I was okay, if I committed to myself that I'm going to do this,
right,
and I didn't make the mark,
right,
okay, I knew. Nobody else didn't need to know.
Right.
I knew.
Right.
That I didn't, and that there's something about that.
Yeah. That is very, very powerful.
That I knew because I told myself.
Yeah.
I gave my word to myself.
Right.
If I'm not going to keep my word to myself, I'm not going to keep my word to anybody else.
Exactly, because relationship really starts with ourselves, right? That's the beginning and the end. When we really connect to that and we really get that, I think another whole world and layer of possibility opens up. Because we treat ourselves differently, therefore, by extension, we have different experiences in relationship and in life.
And the results, I have to say the results, one of them, I was in church and was speaking to Gene afterwards, and he said that, I don't know what happened to you this year, but whatever you did, the level of your writing and music has leveled up.
Sure.
When I saw Dr. Mills' face, especially people haven't seen me for a while, and we get to talking, or they just get to see me, they're like, you're just, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
It's like, those are the moments that I know that I've evolved.
Yes.
That those commitments that I made to myself made sense.
Yeah.
Because now I feel on the outside, I look on the outside, like I feel on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's alignment. Now you're living a life that's much more congruent to who you really are and where you're going.
And for those who've been following for the last year, thank you. There's some people that have read almost every single post.
God bless y'all.
And God bless
you.
I was thinking I spend about an hour a night on average writing.
Yeah.
An hour a night.
Yeah.
Whatever that turns out to be, it's, could be like 2 weeks pure writing for the year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that I can look back on and, it's like I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And those little things, I did that. Those conversations, those flashbacks, hey, I did that. No one asked me to, but I did it.
Yeah.
No one told me to go after that or to post.
Right.
That was all, on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a standard that I kept.
Right.
And I think that the more, you can get into this whole conversation, well, you're doing it for pride I want to say that there's a confidence by
I was just going to say it's self-esteem, Jay.
It's self-esteem, it's confidence through courage and discipline.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
this is one of the things that I discovered in your year, and by extension, my year of transformation too, because it didn't start off that way, but in many ways it has been. And discipline is now a friend, and I resented that word. I thought it was a bad word for most of my life. I thought it was something that my parents did or talked about, and I couldn't stand it because I was too foolish to understand the power of it, right? So I say that freely. I will repeat it again and again. And when I see people who are disciplined, and it's not a question of age, my 17-year-old niece is exceptionally disciplined. I admire her for her discipline. And I see that the freedom that it yields. I see what it does. I see how it frees you up for other things because you have created that discipline for yourself, those parameters and those standards.
Well,
it's really amazing.
It's transformed every part of my life where all of those measurements of the food have now transformed to where I'm practice with the letters and the complaints and everything else that we're drafting.
Yes.
Even in the way that I think about the win-win for my clients, and even on the other side.
Yes.
It's like and
we were discussing that today in the office. Do you think, because we discuss every single angle, we not only strategize and analyze our part of it, but we then strategize and analyze like what it could be for the whole panorama. And we were asking ourselves exactly.
Anybody can be like a bull in the china closet and go ahead and file and make a mess of things. And and there's no finesse in that.
Right. So
there's no discipline.
We were asking, do you think that other firms do this, or other attorneys or other people on?
So the concept of being a mindful lawyer, being a mindset lawyer, as I like to say, is that conscious thought that what I do affects everybody.
Right.
Everybody in the world.
Right. And there's a big responsibility with that.
If I'm intentional to say, okay, I can see where something happened here, where that the law provided an avenue for relief. All right, let's handle that.
Right.
In such a way that it is, win-win to the extent that it can be.
Yes.
But it's not, but in the discipline that I've gained from the body transformation allows me to approach the law this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, the last 2 weeks have been, hell, they say.
Yeah, hell. Really. I mean, it is what it is.
But the results that we've gotten, as the most part, the 9 times out of 10, are extraordinary.
Yeah.
I say that I had posted last night, and I'll say it on the air, that going through life with someone who's growing is very difficult. And I want to acknowledge Janine for the last year of this journey. And I really appreciate the support, the love, the listening, and the space that you created to allow me to get through this year.
Thank you. It's been an honor, and really many years more of triumph and growth and all kinds of really good things to come. And you don't experience the sweet without some of the bitter. So
we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend.
Thank you for listening to the Momentum Mindset Show. For your hosts, Jay and Janine, we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being real, authentic, and honest.
If you'd like to reach us,